Firstly, we're going to see this ceremony taking place today, honoring Samuel Paty at France's Sorbonne University. Tell us about why the Sorbonne.
It's an interesting choice. It's a choice that was made with the family of Samuel Paty because generally those very solemn moments are taking place inside the Invalides, which is essentially a military zone inside of Paris. We've had a number of those national ceremonies held there over the years of victims of terrorism with speeches. But there was a decision made that this was an attack on a teacher, this was an attack on knowledge, and the Sorbonne, one of the oldest universities across the world, is obviously the symbol of that. And so this is why the French president will pay tribute to Samuel Paty, award him the highest honor in France, and probably make an important speech again to defend what Samuel Paty was standing for, teaching children, but also teaching them the freedom of expression and the importance of it. So clearly this will be an important message for Emmanuel Macron. He's been criticized in the past for not addressing head-on the issue of radical Islam in France. Sadly or ironically, he had done exactly that 2 weeks ago in an important speech he had given outside of Paris. But clearly his words will be awaited by the teaching community here in France, but also by the nation, because this is clearly a very emotional moment once again.
You know, Mark, in the aftermath of Samuel Paty's beheading last Friday, we've had a mosque in the suburb of Paris of Pantin, which has received a 6-month closure. This because the head of the mosque, had shared a video of that class where he, out of fear that Muslim children were being singled out. And once again, we have the very secularism, the nature of France's secularism being thrown into question.
Yes, clearly this is a watershed moment. There's no question about it, because until now, there was a willingness, essentially, when there was a terrorist attack, to focus very narrowly on the perpetrators, their abettors, and all of this. So this was a very classical investigation. What we've seen in recent days, maybe it's because of the emotion, and maybe this will change in a few days. We've seen the police, the administration go after people who had just posted some videos, some mosques, as you just mentioned, that relate the message, and even people who were essentially around this and might have used online hate as a way to motivate the attack. And obviously, this is a totally different ballgame, because if you narrowly focus on people who have links to terrorist networks, it's one thing. But where do you stop? Where does freedom of expression start? And when does persecution of individuals, the issue of freedom of speech, begin? And clearly, in many countries, they already see France as having a right to blasphemy and, a very extended freedom of expression. If there is more freedom of expression allowed, essentially, this will obviously create more problems, maybe legal problems. We know that, there was a law pushed by the government to essentially target online hate. It was not accepted by the Constitutional Council. So this will be a real challenge by the government to, yes, ride on the emotion, but also make sure that it remains legal, that the rule of law remains the pillar of French democracy.
Thank you very much for that, Mark. Mark Perlman there.